Okay, folks, right. Going to maybe need to put out a little bit of paint in a moment or two. Yeah, I will need to put out a paint in a moment. I'll just use up this oxide red. I'm going to lay down a base here. So lots and lots of spirits here. What I'm after today is a real deep sunset. Now, I don't know if I'll do this on alla prima. I might do, but probably won't, you know. I'm not that keen on alla prima. I always kind of get the feeling that I'm in a rush, that I have to finish it, you know. It has to be done today. And I'm not sure that I'm keen on that feeling whenever I'm working. Anywho's, do for my complaint today. So, I'll lay this down. I'll wipe some of it off here and there. I'll just give it a second. I won't do too much at the time. I'll just give it a wee second. And I'll just mess about here. Doing my thing. Chicken wing. Right, so, right, what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of this off. I'll use an old dirty rag for it, doesn't really matter. Okay, now the ground that I have on here, this is an important little step. The ground that I have down here is it's a 10 by 8 panel, but on that 10 by 8 panel I put a thickened layer of gesso, and I thickened that layer of gesso with plaster Paris, and I thickened it to a somewhat of a toothpaste consistency. It's left a little bit of a textured surface. You can see it now. You see that little light patch here and here? Those are all little textured surfaces. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit pause here, turn on the hair dryer, let that dry, and then get started. I'll be back in a second. Okay, folks, now this is dried, and as far as the camera's looking, it's a little bit, that's about right, maybe a bit darker. Okay, that'll do. I'm going to lay down here a bit of a rudimentary drawing. I just want to lay down a bit of a composition and have a wee look at it. So, very loose, very thinned out raw umber here. And let me see, I just coming along here, just pop, give me an idea. Now I have looked at an awful lot of reference photos today. So I have, and this is what I have seen in my mind. I have already made a bit of a rudimentary drawing on paper, and it kind of gives me an idea, but I never really stick to it that closely. You know, just okay. Just a little bit of stuff's going on in around this area here, and then maybe I'll have of course I'm going to have a tree. Okay, so first of all, how many trees? What am I going to do? Right, let me see now. Bring the tree out. I'll take it off the canvas this time. Okay. And then I shall have some background trees. I'll just right on the horizon there. And I like to split it up. I like to split the planes up. Not always, but sometimes. So I'm going to put a little bit of a tree base along here somewhere. Maybe. It's always subject to change. Maybe I'll get rid of it. And there's its reflections. And there's that reflections. Like so. Okay, now you can see the idea is land, a little bit of land, some water, not some, a lot of water. Right, so what I'll change brush. So just something a bit larger, something a bit more controllable. And I'll just start laying in some darks here. Some warm darks. Let me change my glasses, folks. Now, some oxide red, some raw umber, a little bit of ultramarine blue. I want to keep the shadows a wee bit cool this time, so a little bit of cerulean too. I don't want to put in too much lamp black. It'll warm it more than I want it to be warmed. And let me see, just messing about, folks. Oh, I forgot to get my kitchen towel. Let's just play for a bit. And just dance that around. There's no obligation to create. The shapes, like the shapes that's in your head, you know, and that is one of the fundamental things that catch people. You know, it catches you off guard, and that is that you follow the tree that's in your head rather than the tree you want to make. If that makes sense. You follow the idea of a tree. Now you get yourself a whole lot of reference photos and stop following the ideas of trees and follow what you see. And then eventually you can move away from that way of doing it and create your own trees. Okay. Keeping it cool. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. All right. Now, oh, just a wee second, folks. All right. Now, where am I? What am I doing? What am I doing? I don't know. I don't know. No, I'm gonna. Tiniest bit of blue, cerulean blue. I want a kind of a bluish, greenish, reddish, grey sky is what the word I'm looking for. I want a grey sky. Almost there. And a little bit more. Just back and forward till I get what I want. There we go, a little bit of liquid in it this time. Alright, okay. I have a feeling it might be a bit too too dark, but it'll come along a wee bit later if I believe that to be the case, and I will lighten it up a bit. Alright. Now, just a bit darker over here, just. Alright, okay, change of brush. A little change of brush. Let me see, which one should I use? Haven't used this one in a wee while. Let me see, it is a Rosemary & Co. 1/2 inch Series 303. And it's quite rough, I've used this quite a lot. Alright, so I'm going for an orange. A bit of an orange. And for those that don't know what I just said, I'm going for an orange. Now I have a feeling that this might be the wrong brush. I think it's a bit too rough for what I'm after. Yeah, I think I'll change it. Not keen on using it. So I'll use this. This is a Shiraz long. It's a long flat, size 7 Rosemary & Co. It's a bit firmer, but not so stiff as the last one. And look at that magenta. Almost a cadmium red there. See? Magenta is where it's at. As much as I've used cadmium red over the years. I sound old. And just rimming the tree here. I'm going around the rim of the tree here. And blending that in. Look at that. Just letting that just meld into that. The same over on this side here. Just letting that work together. Creating a nice soft transition. I'm looking for just another long flat, and bring a bit of white into it this time, in which case I will be using some liquid. I like to use liquid whenever I'm using titanium white. From my perspective, my way of doing it is that it makes it nice and dry for me for the next day, if I so choose to come to it the next day. Lots of the times I don't come into it the next day, but I like to have the choice. And for me, it's ready to go. For the most part, not all the time. Sometimes it's a bit tacky, you know, but for the most part, it's ready for me. I just laying down the sky here, just the background of the sky, and just working that in. Now, because of the ground that I put down, it really soaks up the paint. It really soaks it into it, and this is all but dry, folks, you know, which is what I'm after. I'm just keeping my mind on some of the things that I'm doing here. Right, excuse me. I'm going to lay in the tree. And more specifically, the edge of the tree. It's a bit dark. Needs a bit more viscosity than that. Viscosity? That's not what I meant. Viscosity. Needs to be a bit thinner, just so I can move it a touch better. And just have that soft transition. Yes, look at that now. Lovely and soft, folks. And I will soften it even further. And all I'm doing here is just kind of re-wetting that surface a little bit, and then I'm going to get a dry brush from somewhere. Nice softish dry brush. I'll use one of my blenders here and just take the edges off this. Okay. I'm going to put in along the back here some of these trees along the back here. A little hedgerow off in the distance. Bit later. Okay, now these are way off in the distance, so I'm just going to be I'm still interested in their shape, interested in their form, but they're off in the distance, so there isn't going to be very much definition to them. You're just about going to see them as it melds in with that background. Melds? Okay, I'll do. Now I think what I'm going to do actually, folks, is I'm going to bring that this tree down a bit here. I want a bit more room. I will discuss this later, so I will. A little bit of yellow. I want this to be a bit green. This line of trees. Let me see, just along here, and a little bit more spirits. Just open this up a bit. Open that the viscosity of that up a bit. Now I think that's a bit dark. I think I'm going to lighten it. It's a bit better. To my eye, it's a bit better. Now, trees way off in the distance. way off there. I'm going to concentrate now on these front ones here, if I can find myself. I'll just continue to use this. Continue to use this brush. So now, this is going to be a wee hedgerow, or a wee, I'm not sure what you would call it actually, a couple of trees it's going to be, just on a different plane. That's what I'm trying to achieve here, is to get the idea that these are standalone, out on their own, little trees. Alright, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to just gently soften those edges. Just have them working a little bit. Okay. I'm going to work on the grass and bring everything forward now. Start moving forward is kind of what I meant there. I'm just adding a bit of blue to it as I move forward. Puts a bit of green on it. Tiny bit more yellow. Same color, just tinted with some blue. And that should help give us a nice grey green. And maybe, you know, put a nice cool blue over here in the shades. I'll do that, so I'll do that. I'm going to bring this down a bit as well. I think it's a bit too high for me. I don't know, I'll see. I'm not settled on those moves yet. So let me put a little bit of a blue green over in the corner here. A bit of a cool green. Okay. Alright, that's alright now. Now. So I'm just going to start laying down a green, a nice darkish green, but a saturated green as well. Wow, yeah, again, I always talk for the sake of talking, and it gets me in trouble. It'll be a grayed out green, not a saturated green. But it'll be, rather than being grayed out, and this is something, rather than being grayed out with a red, I'm actually going to gray it out with a cool blue, just dropping the saturation of it a touch. That's all. Just a touch. Nice and dark green in here. Now, I think you're not going to see that very much of that, but I assure you that it's there. I promise you that it is. But I need to put out a little bit more ultramarine. Okay, I'm just going to dab this on just to get it in place. There we go. Just getting that in place. Tiny little bit of spirits just on the brush. Just opening that up a little bit. There we go. I think you can kind of see that. Not quite, but I know you... Yeah. I'm hoping that you can see it a little bit. Living from day to day, chasing a dream. Okay, so now this is where I start to establish the planes. Oh, the plane here now, this needs to come down. I haven't established that plane very well. Oh dear, talking again, talking too soon. Just leaving lots of little different shades and tones, folks, to create interest in the center of this landscape. Okay. And I think I'm going to put a little sun on it as well. But I do kind of feel... Now, I'll see when I get the water in. I do kind of feel that this is a bit high. But I'm not settled on it yet. So, a little bit more ultramarine blue. I think I have enough of everything else. Yeah. Boom. Bit of ultramarine. Some probably need to get some yellow out. Some yellow and some black there. And a good bit of red, just to really grey that green. This is a very, 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 very thin mix. There you go. That's good now. That's what I'm after. And then slightly brighter, slightly at the top here, just as I'm moving up. Look at that, just creating that. And let me see, yep. All right. I still have the light shining. Okay, what I'm going to do is I am actually going to bring down but only by a tiny bit. I'm going to bring this down a bit here. I don't think it needs to come down a lot. Just need a little bit of extra space up there. I'm feeling that that's what I need. Just break that line up a tiny bit, you know, as it always is in nature. You can come to an embankment, it's not one big straight line, or it rarely is anyway. And if you paint it as one big straight line, it looks weird. Okay. So let's get back to to doing this little bit here. I want to see now. Lovely. All right, now. Now, because I have brought this down a little bit, I am going to now bring down the tree in order to create that better plane that I was telling you about. Now I'm going to bring it down a touch here, just along here. Now, hopefully you can see the different planes there. You should be able to. Now, then we got this front plane. We got those at the back. We've got that. So we've got 3 planes going on here. I want them a little bit darker at the base, but that'll come a wee bit later. Yeah, I don't see this being alla prima. Not at all, actually. Okay. Bit more orange coming into the water here. So a little bit of liquid. See if I can get this to move a bit better. Now, let me see. No, I don't like that. It's too green for me. So I'm going to really red this one up. Just to get the color on for now. And, all right, okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to wipe out the center of this a little bit so I can put in some yellow. All right, okay. Where is my brush? Where is this one? Will do. This one will do. So some yellow. Just going to go straight in, and tiniest bit of white. A little bit of liquid. Let's create a nice transition here. Now you see the way I'm applying this, just going in and around the edges, staying away from the center. Not all the time, I will work my way into the center. Just working out, just to smooth out that transition. Now I'm going to slightly move into the center. There we go. Now, and if you make a mistake, you just come along when you take it off. It's that's a very important part of what I do, folks. And I hope you pick up on it. Just keep wiping it off and putting it back on again until you get it the way you want it to be. Not the way somebody tells you how it should be or any of that nonsense. Make sure you place this down the way you want it to be. And then there'll be days when it just doesn't work for you. I recently just didn't want to work on a painting. Overall, when I had a long look at it, I just didn't like the composition. But I continued to work on it I kept changing the composition over and over and over again until I thought, nah, that's all right now. And took away. It was a bit of a struggle. It definitely took away. Anyway, enough of my troubles and woes. You didn't come here to hear me complain, did you? Right, so give me a violet. A purpley violet. And then I'll grey it out with a little bit of orange. Just a little bit of orange. A little bit of red. I'll put a little bit of oxide red in it as well. And I want it a little bit darker. I'll put a little bit of black in it. A little bit more ultramarine. There we go. Now, I think that I am there with this. So I'm going to some liquid, some the other stuff. What do you call that stuff that I use? Methylated spirits, mineral spirits, something like that. Nah, shit, this is a relatively expensive brush. I'm not going to be scraping this on with that, so I'm just going to pick up a cheap brush here and already ruin the already ruined cheap brush. That's the way to do it too, folks. Keep that in mind. But I need to find a suitable one. There's an old thingamajig there. Now, as I'm moving up, I want it to get a bit brighter, maybe a bit redder. As I'm heading towards the sun here, that's a bit too bright. All right, no, it's okay. That's all right. It's a bit too bright, so it is. Just bring it back a little bit. Some ultramarine blue, some magenta. And keep just thinning the viscosity. This doesn't need to be a thick thing here, so it doesn't. You're just covering the canvas here. Now I'm coming up to this orangey stuff. I don't want it to go green, so in order to prevent that, I'm going to add in a little bit of pink. I think this might be too pink, but nope, that's fine. That's fine. Right. Now we have ourselves a little bit of water. And of course I'm going to soften the edge of it. Okay, now a little bit more orangey around the edges, but I think I'll wait until that dries up a little bit. So he says as he makes up an orange and goes for it. Yes, I think I have messed up the sky. I messed up the sky. But it's okay, because I'm going to wipe it off. I'm just getting tired, folks, not paying attention. Not paying attention to my values and my tones. the most important part. My values and tones are the same thing. Just what I think I'll do is I'll just lay down a base here and then I'll go and lie down for a while. Edelweiss, Edelweiss, Edelweiss. Okay. Just as I'm coming further on up here, and a little bit brighter as I'm moving along the top here. Okay, now I think what I'll do is I will wait till this area dries and then I will work on the orange, but before I do, I'm just going to work that in a little bit, just soften these edges a touch here. That'll make it easier for me whenever I come back and it has dried to finish putting that in. Okay, and I was going to create the softness of this reflection, but no. And the reason being is I'll wait till this is all wet again, and the same down here. I think I'll just, what I will do, if I can get myself a little instrument to do so, I will mark for the sun. I've gone for a wee dander here, just have a wee look. There we go, there's something there that hopefully will do. And all that is just a wee top of one of those nasal spray things. All right, and I think I should be just about there, and just about there. And now you can see that. This is going to be a soft sun, no folks. I'm going to soften the edge of it. And actually I shall do that now. Okay. And then I will lighten that, and I'll lighten the surrounding area when I get the chance. Right, for now folks, I'll do is an underpainting. I'm just having a wee look to see if there's anything else that I should do. I think maybe I'm going to bring this. Yes, I will do a wee tiny bit more. Just bring this over here a little bit. Just widen the mouth of this. Okay. No. Right, there you go, folks. Right, I will see you when I come back to have a little go at this one. And I'll see you all soon enough. So bye for now. Bye for now. Alright, folks, now back to this one. So, a little bit of scumbling on a glazing today. A little bit of scumbling on a glazing. So, change my glasses. Right. I'm gonna begin with the sky here. Let me see. Yep, okay. Right, so let's begin with the sky. I'm after just a basic tint here on the sky. I think I'll put a little bit of liquid. And I have to open up my jar of spirits. I'm going to be moving over to Gamsol very soon because I find these mineral spirits they're quite harsh at times. So a little bit of, now what I don't want is I don't want a lot on the brush. I want some control here. So I just wipe it off on the palette. All right, okay. All that texture that's left behind on the panel. No, a bit too much, a bit too strong. All that texture is left behind is a nice, leaves a really nice texture. Let me see now. All right, okay, getting there, getting there. Model days are just going to be going back and forward with different different parts of the painting. Going to be working here on in and around the trees now. And again, as I say, just back and forward and back and forward. And because this is a scumbling on a glazing day, remember to take a good bit off your brush, and it helps you shape things the way you would want them shaped. And you see that there's the shape of the tree beginning to form here. Right, now let's form the tree then. Am I too far out already, or should I come in a bit? Decisions, folks. Decisions. All right, that's just giving myself a bit of an option here. And hey, did too late you go. Now, all right, okay. Excuse me. I want to make these back trees a little bit more apparent. So a tiniest bit darker. Let me see. I just don't want to go too dark. Yes, that's a bit better. Okay. We have a bit of a real distance going on here. I want to be darkening the base of these as well in a momento. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to mess about with the edges of this and see where it takes me. I'm just creating these soft edges as they fade off into the light. A little bit darker in some areas. And might as well scumble in some dark on this area too. Now I'm going to be putting this down, but I think I'm going to be taking a lot of it off. Where is that now? Here we go. Okay. I always have a tendency to do that. It's something that I need to be constantly aware of. As I create, if I'm creating prongs coming out, I always create 2 or 3 of them in a row and they all look identical. So I'm always trying to be aware of that. I'm not always successful, but I try to be aware of it. Softening those edges just a little tiny bit. Now let's move down to the water area here. Excuse me. Bit more raw umberish. Okay, let's just mess around with this area down here now. Spreading that out a little bit. That's dead on now, that's alright. Getting there, folks. Just bring this down into the thing. I don't want it to get it too green, so I don't really want the green on it this time. And I want some reflections here of these here. That's a bit too much on the brush as well, folks, so I'm just scumbling this on. All right, okay. want to come into that a little bit and just blend this in. Softening that edge. And you see, almost all the time, not quite all the time, I'm having downstrokes because I'm in the area of the water here. I want to do the same on the other side. Just dragging it down. Nice and soft, folks. Now this here, I'm going to lighten this area a little bit. Just with a glaze of ultramarine white to begin with. Put a little bit of pink in it. Just a little bit, or I'll make it pink, I'll not put pink in it. You know what I mean, you know what I mean. Just softening that off, get a bit of a transition going on. And the texture in the board will make it look like the water has a ripple or two, you know. Very nice. That will do. Now, I have to keep you in mind that a lot of this will be covered up. This is just the base painting of the water. Still the base painting of the water. Okay, now more to continue. I think I'll work on the grasses here. I don't want to do too much to it, but there's a few things to cover up. This is a really beat up old fawn brush. Let me see. Now, just a little bit of spirits, a little bit of liquid, just to get that viscosity and let it come off the brush a little bit easier. A bit darker for the embankment. Now this is where I start dragging it down onto the already almost wet paint here. Now, I really want to get rid of that harsh line there. Okay. Now, let's soften that up a little bit. There we go. Ah, very good. Very good. So, let me just work a little bit more into this. Just making that edge a little tiny bit uneven on purpose. All right, okay now. Nope. No, 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 no. Okay, now, let me just knock a little bit of this back. All right, okay, now folks, now we've got ourselves a little bit of a tree. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, there we go. Let me see now. Just getting another beat up thingy-majig. Now as I'm coming forward here, you get to see things clear because there's less atmosphere between you and what you're looking at the front here. So because it's clear, it's more saturated. More green. I don't know. I'm just ignore me for the time being. I'm just talking here. Ba ba da ba ba da ba da boo. All right, okay. Now I'm going to start working on the darker areas here and the reflections. I'm just checking to see if I'm happy with the water. And apart from putting the sun in it, I think that's fine as it is. That's nice, yes. Okay, so let's work on this. Just coming out a bit farther. So like always, I try to implore you to get the idea of mistakes out of your head. They don't seem to exist in oil painting for the most part. Of course, there are certain exceptions to all these rules. Of course there is, but for the most part, the mistakes don't exist. You just wipe them off. And with more and more experience, the more you paint, the sooner you see the mistake, and then you wipe it off, rather than having done a whole thing, which still happens, make no mistake about that, folks. Rather than do the whole thing and then have to wipe a bit of it off. But that's just part of it. I wouldn't be concerned about that for too much. Now, let me see here. Myself a nice browny red here. Don't want too much on the brush at this stage. Just a little bit on the brush, and you see that's covering this up. That's nice now. Now a little bit brighter in a certain few areas. Let me see, just here. Lovely. Very good. Very, very good. Now, and a bit darker now in some of the areas, just down in here. All right, okay, now I think what I'm going to do is just bring it over a little bit further, close that up a tiny bit. Okay, now I'm going to get I'm just going to wipe the paint off this a little bit. Okay, so let me see now. Let me just see what's going on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a few of the water's features, and then take a wee step back and have a look. A wee look-see. I'll put in some of the water features and using my little trusty palette knife. Let me see what I have. I'll have to make up some color. A bit of an orangey green here. And I will check for brightness along here. I think that's fine. It's maybe the brightness is okay. No, that's fine. No, I'm happy with that. Now, I'm staying away purposely from this area and this area here. That's where the sun's going to be. And it's going to be a soft edge sun to some degree. I might harden a little bit of it down the side or something like that, but for the most part, it's going to be a soft edge. Now, I have an alarm going, folks. I'm going to go in and tend to it. Gotta go and take my pills. Okay, now where was I there? Before I was so rudely interrupted. What was I doing there? Oh yes, I was putting in the water features. I'll get back to that in a second. All right, okay. All right, back to the water features now. And as I say, purposefully staying away from the center here. And also staying away from that big tree for the time being. Right, okay, now, there's still a good wee bit of work to do here. I want to break into this tree a little bit, give it some shape. Now this isn't so much a glaze, this is more of a just a painting job. Plenty of paint on the brush, and I just want to break into it a little bit. And make it a little bit brighter on the edge. There we go. Just break that up. That look like it is the part of the tree. Again, folks, I'm just talking and for the sake of talking. Actually, so I'm going to keep quiet for a while, if I can. I'm not sure I'll be able to, but we'll see. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of a branch or a tree trunk in this, but it's going to be, it's going to be barely noticeable, folks, barely noticeable. So a little bit of a violet grey. Now, I think that that's too noticeable. It is too noticeable, but only a bit. Just darken it a touch. A little bit of mineral spurs help this come off the brush. Right, okay, and just shaking that brush back and forward. Or not back and forward, just giving it a bit of a shake, just to break up those branches. All right, now let me see a bit of a thinner brush to do the rest of it. Okay. Now what I want to do is a little thing that I like doing on trees is just to show a little bit of the background here coming through the tree. Maybe a little bit darker than that, maybe. Yeah, that's actually, we're just going to take that off. Just a bit darker than that. All right, okay. A little bit redder too, a little bit orangey, and a bit darker. So let me see now. Let me create this. All right, just leaving that as is. Now what I might work on here is the front of this, just this area here. And I'm just going to be doing some gentle scumbling here. And I know this area is still a bit wet, so it'll just work in with it, so it will. So it's not exactly scumbling. It's close enough though. Alright, now you see I'm just toning the areas. Now what I want to do, I want to work on this area, but I think it's a bit, is it too bright? Oh, is it too bright? Let me see, is that brighter? That is brighter. Yeah, I don't want it too bright, folks. We just play around here. There we go. I just almost got it straight away. Now as I move forward, a little bit of the light just catching in around these trees here. Now that's another thing, I want to fix up these trees. Okay now. Alright, okay. Now let's just work this in. I don't want that to be such a sharp transition. There we go. Just have the light scoot round just the base of this tree here. There we go. Right, now over on this side here, I'm going to work on these trees just a little bit. I don't think they need much work. They're way off in the distance and they're not to be given any too much attention. I'll put it that way. As I've hated to let you go. Yes, I do. Now, getting there. Lots of little works lots of little details. Just here and there, folks. Trying to create a better tree shape than what I have there. I'm not entirely happy with it. I'm not entirely unhappy with it either, to be honest. I think it's, as I say, they're off in the distance, so they are. So I'm going to get a dry brush and take the edges off them a little bit. There's one there. Just let that transition. All right, okay, now I'm going to, I want to make sure that I'm okay here before I begin any works. Okay, now a little bit darker in the center. I said a little bit darker, not very dark. Oh, just working that, just feeding that into that, folks. So there is a soft transition. Okay. Right, okay, now I'm going to work on the water here and the sky. So this is going to be almost a pure white. Trying to establish one there and one there. Okay, that's just a little mark for me, folks, so I can keep myself as right as is possible. Now let's get ourselves another little. Back to this again, just a little cap. And I'm going to put that right over the center of this. And that'll mark for me where the sun, where I want the sun to go. And the same here. All right, okay, now let's fill that in. I think I need to put on different glasses here. Can you see what I'm doing, folks? Can you see? It's a bit better. As I say, I'm going to be softening this, the edges of this. But I'm going to get it down as a round object first. Now the same as at the base. Now the base is nowhere near as accurate. It's a reflection, so it's going to be slightly elongated and all of that. But again, I'm just getting down the roundness, and then I'm going to come up into here and just create that reflection. Barely touching the canvas here, folks. If you could feel, I don't know, half the times I'm wondering if I'm actually touching the canvas. Alright, okay. Now this one at the top here. So let me see again. I want a nice controllable soft brush. So I'm going to use my little blenders here. Here's a little blending stump. It's a makeup brush, very cheap, and I have found these to be better than professional blending stumps. They really don't shed, and they hold their things for years, so they do. And they're very, very cheap. In fact, I think I have had this for maybe 4 years, I think. Not entirely sure about that. Alright, now it's a bit too, I want the edges a wee bit more, a bit too big for me. I want the edges not so, there we go. That's not bad now. Now I do want a sharper area of it, so I'm just going to lay this in, and then I'm just going to create a bit of a sharper area on it. In fact, while I'm here, just to work on this one. Alright, now I'm just going to put a little bit of an edge on this and maybe take it off. We'll see how I feel. Just a little half moon there. Aye, okay, I'll blend in the bottom edge of it here, so just a touch. There we go. Now, so what I'm going to do now is just really spread this one out, and then light the middle of it again, the way I did there. Really just spread this out. Okay, and then re-establish that centerpiece. There we go, and then spread it out a little bit too, but only a bit this time now. Barely touching the canvas, just spreading that around. There we go, softening that edge. Now it's a little bit off, so let's just spread it out a little bit and make it a little bit less off. That's a bit better. Excuse me. And as I say, just take these edges off. Now, I'm not done with this. Not quite yet. I still have a few grasses and a few highlights to put here and there. So I do. But I'm nearly done with it, folks. I'm nearly done with it. Now I need to change my glasses back. Excuse me while I go and have a cough. Okay, now I want to work on some grasses here. Just creating the idea that these grasses are turning over a little bit, you know, falling into the water, having a little bit of a loop. I don't know if you can, you can, you should be able to see that. A little bit of a brighter one or two. A little bit more here. No, that's a bit much. So of course, just knock it back. There we go. And what I do want to do is just to show that the light is shining here. I kind of the trail of the sun. There you see, very nice. Now let me see here. Just creating little flicks and divots and pits and all the little things that you see in grasses. Now they normally sit on the top of the grass, so you just need to put them there. You're not having to mess up your underpainting would be a better way to put that. Look at that. Just have that dancing around there. Now, this here needs a fixing. A little globule of something. Okay. Now, I want to work on finishing the water, and I believe that I might be done at this point. All right, okay, so let's get the water the way that we want it, eh? Now, right across here, right across right across the sun reflection here. Now what I'm going to do is create some heavier lines. And just using the palette knife just to shape them. A little bit darker down here. I really don't want to know. And I think, folks, you know, I think I may be done with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little walk back, and you can come with me. And we'll stand and have a look at this. All right, so let's see. It's a very warm sunset-y piece, isn't it? Nice reflection. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. What about the shape of the trees? No, the trees are good. Trees are good. It just needs varnished in order to lift those blacks a little bit. Or I'll put a little bit of liquid on it, and maybe I'll have a look at it and see if anything else, if I want to do anything else with it. But for the time being, I'm happy enough with that. Well, I hope to see you in the next one, folks. And of course, I will stick some other videos up in here somewhere if you want to go and watch those. And then please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. So, bye for now.